Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Episode 30 of Gym Guys Podcast. Happy New Year to everyone, 2025. And what a great way for us to start off this year. I and my co host, Eric Schwartz, who's CEO of Paw Power, maker of fine pet supplements, rescuing dogs all the time with proceeds that he gets from his products. Supplement extraordinary. He does reviews as well on TikTok, so make sure you check out Eric Schwartz. Paw Power, great products. Also with us every podcast, Scott Applebaum runs Integrated Health, everything from bodybuilding to conditioning to longevity to biohacking. You want to go see check out Scotty Apex, Scotty the Body from Integrated Health. A tremendous, no pun intended, wealth of information on how to keep staying young, healthy, and strong. Winner of 4 pro cards in 2023 at the NPC Team Universe. So you're in great company here. Little old me, Drago 1850. I get to share this screen and this platform with all these fine gentlemen. Speaking of fine gentlemen, we have a great one, one that we've all, and me personally, have gotten to know over a good amount of time just on Instagram and just kind of talking about different posts together and then kind of developing into DMs. Hey, how's your day going? What are you training? And just bottom line, really organic. And I'm humbled. We are humbled by someone that we all followed, especially in the late 80s, going into the early 90s.
Legend, legend.
Just a great bodybuilding scene. And Eric's right. When you see some of the stuff that we're going to share today about his stage presence and what he looks like today, you're going to know why we have him on the podcast. So, a few accolades. I believe he competed till about 2013, 2014. So he's been retired 10 years, even though he don't look like he's been retired for 10 minutes. Um, Winner of the Niagara Pro, if I'm not mistaken, I believe in 1994. I know there were a lot of them. Um, Competed with the likes of Albert Beckles and Porter Cottrell. I and all of us personally got to see him compete at shows like the Night of Champions, Ironman Pro. You see him in the background here. Famous Flex magazine cover with Porter Cottrell, who he's still friendly with today. The 1988 North American champ. That's how he became pro, if I'm not mistaken. And probably one of the most exciting things, I can go on for days with all the shows he did. He did over 40 professional shows. But the fact that he's going to put his hat in the ring and do this Masters Tokyo coming up in the summer of this year is just like beyond awesome at the ripe old age of 64. Ladies and gentlemen, IFBB Pro and legend Henderson Thorne. Henderson, thank you. Thank you so much for not only all the build up to coming to this podcast, which has really been the funnest part. This is just like the icing on the cake, if you will, but just being so gracious with your time and being the kind of person that you are. Really have gotten to know you over these quite a few months here, and we're just honored, Eric and I and Scott, to have you on this podcast. Welcome.
For having me, guys. Looking
Our,
forward to it.
our pleasure. And before we get into the thick of all the great things you've done and all the great things you're continuing to do and are about to do, we usually start off with some just like what's going on in the world of bodybuilding, any current events, hot topics. And Scotty, you take it away. And Henderson, you jump in anytime you want to tell us about how it used to be and how the way it should be.
Well, we're heading towards the Arnold in the end of February. In fact, it's a little bit early this year. I think the last week of February. So all your athletes are now, right in the middle of prep mode. From what I hear, Samson is looking really, really good. And I guess if you want to talk about news, and what a lot of people, I guess, have now finally realized is that since Hani Rambod has retired, and so all his clients now are it's almost like him and Matt Jansen. You know what I mean? All those clients have been like distributed to other coaches. But the biggest news is that Derek Lunsford is now working with Chris Aceto. And unfortunately, is Chris is been around for forever, probably since, Henderson and I was, we're training in the 80s, and he's a well accomplished coach, and has a great bio and resume. And unfortunately, there's been a little bit of controversy with Sean Ray speaking, disparagingly about
Not Sean Ray, no way.
but Chris, unfortunately, my mom always and my dad always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
You know, as far as Chris Aceto go, I know Chris Aceto, and today I was thinking about my bodybuilding journey and where my training DNA came from, and it was four old guys in the Vic Tanny's gym back in '81 or '82 when I started, and that was the bodybuilding stuff. But everything with nutrition and that, I would read everything that Chris Aceto ever wrote. And that was that, so when I hear he's back in the scene and training people, I'm happy for him, because a lot of my eating and the way I diet was from articles that he would write either in Flex or Muscle and Fitness. And I knew Chris from back in the day because he was married to a Canadian when he was married to
Laura
Corbell. So I got to know Chris, so I don't get into people's business, whatever's going on with him and Sean, that's their stuff. But for me, from nutrition and stuff like that, I'm a big fan of Chris Aceto. So I can understand, I think he'll do wonders for Derek.
To kind of pivot off that, I mean, as you know, Chris had an office in Gold's Gym, and so did Neil Spruce, who we both know, pretty intimately. They both kind of shared some space in Gold's Gym back in that day. And I spent probably almost about a decade with Neil working with him.
A lot of history there. Gold's Gym nutrition analysis.
Yes.
Back in the day.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with Derek and the change in coach.
Yeah.
Any of you guys going to the Arnold? Chris, I'm pretty sure you are, right?
Yeah, I'm going down.
Awesome, Henderson.
Oh yeah, I'll go down and just for me, it's like just going down to get that fire burning again. And I did the Arnold. I can't remember. I think might have been '94. I did, and it was an awesome experience. But at that time, a lot of the action guys from the movie era would be at the show. Stallone, Bruce Willis, those guys.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. Now, as bodybuilding has evolved, it's bigger. It's a bigger business. It's different than when I was competing back in the '90s.
Sure. Oh yeah.
It's a social media thing, right? Everything is done on social media. Back in my day, nobody was talking about. You never heard anybody talking about steroids or anything like that. It was out there, but nobody was talking about it.
Well, I mean, I was listening to an excerpt of David Letterman interviewing Arnold about and asking him about anabolic steroids back, in the day, and what Arnold said, and this is I'll paraphrase. He said that he used them, but he didn't really think they worked.
Yeah.
This is back then.
Yeah.
So he handled it very well,
Yeah, but and that is true. It wasn't front page news, and now it is front page news. And unfortunately, it is what it is. But if you're getting ready to, if you're an amateur and I'm an amateur, I can't afford to build a base and go, I'm going to train 2-3 years natural and build a base, because now you're 3 years ahead of me. So everybody's basically starting on the ceiling. And when you start on the ceiling, there's no place to go but try to keep up, or you're going to fall.
So, it's Henderson, we're close to the same age, and there's no patience anymore. Everybody wants it right now.
Exactly.
And building the foundation, I think, and I try to communicate it to everybody I work with, it is so vitally important because without the foundation, you know, all the trimmings and the decorations in the house are just going to implode at one day. And then you're not going to have anything there. Where if you build the foundation, you know what, just have the patience, and that muscle that you actually build will never leave.
But then you have to look at now. You have to do it now.
Immediate gratification. Immediate gratification. You know.
You don't like the way bodybuilding is. You don't have time to wait, unfortunately. And you know, back in my day, you only had a few avenues to get a pro card, right? You either won USA's and the nationals. Up in Canada, you had to win the Canadas. You know, I won the middleweight Canadas in '87, and you know, I was beaten by, you know, I think it was the light heavyweight guy, and that was how. And then in 1989 is when I went to the Worlds and got my pro card. But now it's a big business now. You know, every weekend across the world, they're giving out hundreds of pro cards. You know, I always, you know, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but I go, sooner or later, you can get them at a Costco.
I understand the point. I understand that point. I know where you're driving with this, you know? So, you know, Henderson, question. I mean, you know, you haven't competed since what, 2013, I think it was, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. What brought the impetus for you to want to, you know, go into the Masters Olympia? What was the driving force that, you know, got behind that?
Well, you know, 5 years, about February next month will be 5 years that I've had a quadruple bypass.
Wow.
Right? So I haven't used gear. So that's 5 years and probably 3 years prior to that. So I've been off gear I've been training natural for a long time, you know, but I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a lifetime natural athlete because I did my stuff back in the day. And yeah, you know, I just did it to compete, but I would never do an off season. So, you know, I've been training, you know, back in the day, you know, I trained heavy, you know, I squatted crazy weight at 185. I squatted 810 pounds.
Whoa.
Wow.
Damn, brother. You should have been a powerlifter.
So you know, at 185, you know, I did a powerlifting meet.
Oh, you did? Okay.
You know, so I pulled 731 in a meet.
Wow.
So, but you know, I just always trained heavy and lots of volume. So now I'm saying if my muscles don't remember any of that, then I wasn't there. So now I still train lots of volume. I don't squat the crazy weights anymore. I still deadlift. So I said, you know what? I want to challenge myself to see how close I could get to what I used to look like in the 90s. So a lot of my training now, it's more instinctive training. I don't, it's hard to explain, but I'll change my mind. I love legs. So I try to do legs almost every third day. Right? I'll do some form of leg workout, but I feel so good right now. And, you know, I just want to challenge my body. I'll be 64 in March. My thing is I'm 190 pounds right now, no joint pain, no injuries, nothing like that. So I'm relying on old muscle memory to see, and my training has been amazing. And I always stay in shape. I know the adage is you can't gain muscle by being lean. And I think it's crazy.
I agree.
I mean, Henderson, what would you say is one of the more recent pictures here, right?
Ooh. Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, so this is a more recent one right here. I think that was, you know, like that's me right now. And I think if I can put 10 pounds on that, if I can get up to 200, I could be competitive. So and I'm not knocking anyone that's going to compete, but for me, I don't think I'll use gear ever again. And that's just me. And I'll never walk around, like I said before, and say I'm a lifetime natural bodybuilder. But right now at 64, and the way my training is, I don't think I want to. And I don't think I need to.
So interesting. You're looking to gain weight going into the contest where most people are
But
losing weight.
that's how I always competed. I always grew into the show.
Interesting.
This
You know,
is a great shot.
I always grew into my bodybuilding shows. You know, I would train and always be ready to compete at least 4 weeks out. I could go into a show. So my thing would be jump on a little gear and just get bigger.
Interesting.
I think growing through a show is something guys like you and I who've been around a long time is. I talk to people about that, and they're like, "How do you do that?" I go, "You're it's just it happens or kind of organically because you're so focused at that point, you know, and then things just actually really change. Not that you don't train hard when you're not getting ready for a show, but it just kind of things kind of just get the volume just gets turned up a little bit of a notch, which then enables you to put on that muscle."
But I find the more you can train without the gear, the easier it is on your tendons.
Of course,
right?
yes.
You know, you end up with less injuries because training on the gear, yes, you can lift more, you have the extra water, the leverage, that kind of stuff. But you know, the muscles get stronger, but the tendons don't get stronger.
Correct,
You're
correct.
training on gear all the time. So, but my thing was, it's like, you know, you jump on me, it was 6 to 8 week cycle, and you're able to eat more food. You're a lot more dedicated to your sleep, your recovery, and that me because I'm thinking I'm on this stuff. I want it to work, and I'm going to do everything in terms of eating all that food and recovering a lot quicker. And you're still able to lift heavy. And that was one of the things, you know, I always see some people online knocking, say, like a Nick Walker for lifting heavy before. I'm going, you know, if heavy weights got you there, what are you going to start doing? Training like an aerobic instructor? You don't change. You know, the things that you change is your food, right? You don't want to change your training. And
No.
that was my thing. You know, I'm squatting, you know, you know, I would still squat heavy. You know, I squatted 810 at 185, but I never wanted to squat anymore because I could do 5 plates for like 20, 25 reps.
Wow.
I got more out of that. So, you know, it's funny because at 185, I was lifting crazy numbers.
That's incredibly
I was going behind the neck press with 315, and you know, and I thought that was great till I don't know if you guys know Greg Colfax.
Sure.
Yes. Another
I walked
Canadian.
into a gym and I'm going, who the hell is doing 415 behind the neck? Right? And you know, but you know, back in the day, I just lifted heavyweight, bent over rows, heavy. You know, it was always heavy compound movements. And like now I still would squat. I would rather squat like every day if I could. So, you know, I go back and forth with squats and back because I still deadlift pretty heavy.
Awesome. Hey, Henderson, I want to jump way back to when you first started. I always like to hear people's like origin story, how they got into lifting. So what got you into like lifting weights in the gym and bodybuilding?
I never lifted in high school because I played football. I was pretty good at it. I ran track. I played soccer. Played a little basketball, but I was better in the streets playing street ball. So, but football was my love. I wanted to play. I wanted to be a pro. But I was only a $130. I only weighed 130 pounds, and I got a little knee injury, and it got me into the gym. And that's how I started. I went to Vic Tanny's, and again, I you know, I got in there and I was 130 pounds, but I watched how other people worked out. Like I said, there were guys, his name was Errol Williams, Ian Monroe. These are guys that I watched. And what I noticed about these guys and the way they train was it was effortlessly. They moved the weight. There was no jerky. And I watched them, and it was always that time under tension type of training. And I watched how they develop. And that's how I started to train. I started training in, I think it might have been February of that year, first time at Victani's. And then, like every, back in the day, an instructor there goes, "Oh, you should compete." Well, okay, I'll compete. I did my first show, the Novice Ontario, and of all my shows, that's the one I remember the most, because I didn't know you had to diet. I didn't know you had to tan. I just thought you just trained. No, honestly, this is the truth.
Nobody told you?
I'm doing my first show, the Novice Ontario. There's 35 guys in my weight class. I'm backstage. I have an ugly brown pair of Speedos, but I didn't shave. And they're like, "You need to shave." So this is going to get weird. I have about 3 guys dry shaving me.
Oh my God.
Seriously, true story. I have blood on my shins.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I won my first show. I beat all 35 guys.
Wow.
And that was my thing into bodybuilding. And I started, I think I competed in every category leading up to winning the world. So I started as a lightweight, and then I went up to, I think, just between middleweight and lightweight was bantam or something like that. Yeah. But I kept growing. I kept growing, and
that was just happening like naturally, right? I mean,
and it was natural.
You weren't trying to gain, to get
a lot of peanut butter sandwiches. Nice. Because I remember the trainer.
God, can I have those?
I'm still doing it. The trainer said to me, "You have to eat this, this, and this, and this." So I went home, and I told my mom what I needed to eat, and she said, "Well, when you get a job, you can do that." To eat like that. Nice. So I just ate what my mom cooked, and more, lots of fruits, stuff like that. Didn't really know about dieting. I was just, raw. And as it went on, I got better at it. And, in 87, like I said, I won the Canadas and stuff like that. And then again, going to see my first pro show, and you make that decision. But it was so much fun, like amateur. I remember I didn't have a car, and I won the Night of Champions one year, which is a show that we had in Toronto.
Oh, not the New York Night.
And I'm on the TT's bus with a trophy taller than me on the bus, because I didn't have a car. Right?
Wow.
And you look like a freak. You're all tanned up, and you're on the bus with this big trophy.
That's cool.
So it's been a beautiful journey. I love it. But my start in it was, I was 130 pounds, and I got as heavy as probably my bulk up phase, probably 210, maybe 215 is the heaviest I've ever been, and I never competed over 200 pounds. But the start in it was great. It was at Victani's, and with Ken Wheeler was the owner of Victani's, and he was friends with like Vince Gironda, other Ken Waller. So I actually met some of these bodybuilders before I even became a bodybuilder.
Wow. And where is, for people's knowledge, where is Victani's gym? Or where was it?
They're called, I think they went to Super Fitness, and they're all in Canada. Right?
Yeah. What part of Canada are you from? Where did you grow up?
I'm in Ontario. But right now I live in I work on the Six Nations Reserve. So I'm on a reserve in just outside of Hamilton. Beautiful. I call it my paradise.
That's awesome.
It's beautiful. Great people. So we have a gym here, and it's open. People that don't live on the reserve also come and train here and stuff like that. It's an amazing place to be.
That's great. And when you say Ken Wheeler, obviously not Kenny Flex Wheeler.
No. Ken Wheeler was he owned, he was the first big gym owner in Ontario in Canada. He had probably about 10 or so gyms, and he had connections with Arnold and all those guys. I think I told you the story about when Vince Gironda was visiting, and I would open up the gym, and Kenny says to me, like, Henderson, when you go to the gym tomorrow, just be quiet. Vince will be sleeping. I go, okay, fine. So I go and I turn the lights on, and Vince Gironda is sleeping on an inversion table.
Like a vampire.
He was sleeping like a bat.
Yeah, like a vampire.
He upside down. It's like, okay, then. So yeah, it was, Vic Tanny's was great for me because I was just a young kid, but there were some really great bodybuilders in there already. Like I've named a few of the guys, and I learned from those guys. And, unfortunately, like a lot of the bodybuilders that came up in my era, like, I was already, my DNA for how I wanted to train was already in me. Lots of volume, stay in your own lane, do what works for you. Just because something worked for someone else, I would look and see what other people are doing. And you know what, if it fit my mode of training, I don't mind. But I was that guy. I don't want to try everything just because you won Mr. Olympia. I'm not going to start doing that because it doesn't work for me. That's not how I like to train. So I always followed my type of training. And I think we had this conversation where I train like I want to be the best 100-meter runner in the world, right? If you want to be a great 100-meter runner, every time you go to the track, you don't run 100 meters, right? Or else you just become a good 80-meter runner. So when I come to the gym, I'm working on my whole body, right? Where I'll do some repeat 400. So that's a day where I can't walk, right? Other days I'm doing, block work. So it's more of like I'm chasing the pump that day, right? So every day I'm not running 100 meters, but I'm working on becoming the best 100-meter runner. And that's how I train. Is every day, the intensity is there, but I am not trying to be the best 100-meter runner every time I go to the gym. And it's worked for me for all these years.
You still keep in touch with some of the pros, Henderson?
Porter, I'll talk to here and there, but
okay.
But and I don't know if how many people are like this, but when it comes to bodybuilding, I never really hung out with bodybuilders. I don't know if that's weird, but for me, it's like I love bodybuilding. I really enjoy it. But my thing is, I don't want to talk about it every day. I don't like if I'm in the gym, I'm bodybuilding. Sure. If I go to a bodybuilding show, I'm bodybuilding. When I go to the grocery store, I don't want to talk about bodybuilding. When you know what I'm saying? It's
you want balance.
Mm-hmm. Because this is what happens with, you hang out with bodybuilders all the time. The ones that are doing well, they're talking about it, and then the ones that are not, they're hating on it, right? And sooner or later, you start doubting something that you love, something that is dear to you, because you're hearing that negativity, and I don't care who you are. When you hear a lot of negativity, it starts to seep in and you start questioning what you're doing. So my thing, I love bodybuilding, but it means a lot to me. So I try not to have it diluted by always everything is bodybuilding. Right. I think you have to have a balance.
Agreed.
I think you have to have some kind of balance, or else, you just, for me, it's a hobby that has allowed me to earn some money, right? To me, bodybuilding has always been a hobby because I always had a job. I always worked in the gym, or I was co-owner of a gym, that kind of stuff. So bodybuilding to me always was a hobby that I loved and was pretty good at it. And now my thing is to get back there.
You know, if I could just break it, and I guess the word that comes to me, because, you know, I've been doing this since I was 13, it's personal. You know,
Yes.
that I think that's really the
Yes.
word that comes to mind, you know?
Yes. Yeah, it's yeah. And when I like outside of my gym, because I'm here, you know, people respect my space. If I go to another gym, you know, it looks like I'm not friendly, but I'm here to work out, not to make friends and spend time just talking. Because for me, I always want to be in the moment of training. And I get the social media stuff where people are constantly on their phones. But my thing to that is the mind to muscle connection is not there.
100%.
It has to be there all the time. And I know it's just how bodybuilding is now. People are videotaping themselves and this and that. But for me, if you're mugging for the camera, the mind to muscle connection is not there. And, you know, I'm not knocking the bodybuilders of today, but that's how it is.
It's a different era. Yeah, it's
a different era. So for me, it's like, you know, I see guys compete and I see them training and my opinion is, you know, you have to spend more time away from the camera and just train. Just train, get that mind to muscle connection, get that visualization. Because if you're just, you know, repping your product, you know what I'm saying?
It becomes a distraction. Absolutely.
It becomes but you can't do it every day. You take time off to do that, you know, do a shoot or whatever, but it's different now. You know, when I was with Muscle Tech or Body Plus, you know, I would go to LA to do a shoot and you have material for that. And that's the only time you're doing that. But now everything is right now.
Yeah, it's how these guys make their money now. You know, they have to create content. Sure. You know,
and I think, you know, it becomes a job. When bodybuilding becomes a job, then it's a different mental push. Because it's like, I got to go to work, you know?
Right.
For me, when I go to the gym, bodybuilding is not my job. You know, bodybuilding it's my hobby. I'm challenging my body. I'm trying to make it change at my age because I always had a job. So it was easy to just go and work out because I'm doing something I love. It's my passion, you know, it's my mental energy. It's my thing. And I try still now, my hour or hour and a half in the gym, that's my time. My phone is not with me. If I'm going to take a pic, it's at the end of my workout. I'll go and get someone to take a picture, but I'm never videotaping myself. I might videotape a set, and anytime I put anything on social media, that is not, I've done heavier weight. And my friends always say, why don't you put the real stuff that you do? I go, nobody cares, right? Because I will never put my heavy sets on. You know, I'll put a lighter set on and I'm okay with it because I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm just trying to put stuff on.
He's still deadlifting 405 for reps, for God's sakes. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It's great.
Yeah. I still like to deadlift, and you know, I because that's technique. I don't squat heavy anymore, you know, but I still squat. I don't bench press heavy anymore. I was more of an incline guy anyway back in my day. You know, I was doing, you know, numbers again. I was doing 4 plates incline.
Wow.
You know, like it was some crazy weight, but I loved it.
Your side chest showed it, you know, when we looked at some older footage, 92 Olympia specifically, and I was just like, damn, dude, it actually reminded me of, I know his chest was insanely outrageous. Nimrod King. I mean, Nimrod King. Yes. Nimrod King could serve wine pour on his chest, you know? I
mean, yeah.
And here's the crazy thing about Nimrod. You know, Nimrod had the worst form of any bodybuilder you'll ever see.
Really?
Because I've seen him train.
Like worse than like Berto Fox?
But You know, he would be on the incline using 20-pound dumbbells, and it would look like somebody's just pumping air into
Wow.
his bicep. Unbelievable. And you know, he never really like sloppy form, but he just stimulated his muscles like there was nobody's business.
His
Great
body
genetics.
responded, right? He
Yeah,
was
great
And his
genetics.
born to
body
do that.
responded. It just responded.
Thick of
Yeah,
the-
he small joints also.
So Henderson, we mentioned the 92 Olympia. You competed there. That was a pretty big one because that was Dorian's first win, right? Right after Lee Haney retires. That was in Helsinki, Finland. Is that correct?
And it was a trip. You know, we the arena is where they play the junior hockey.
Okay.
The junior worlds or efforts in Finland, that's where they played.
Right.
We got there, and the dressing room, they had a hockey game the night before. So the dressing room was like flooded.
Oh boy.
So
I remember they had big steps. I just remember like
the big steps.
you had to walk down the steps to do your routine. Like
if you ever see the video, look the light between the stage and the curtain, and you're gonna see a body disappear. Lou Ferrigno fell off the steps.
no.
Yes.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it was these rickety little steps that they built, and he slipped off of it. If you saw the Vince Taylor with his eye patch.
That I remember, and
Yeah.
for some reason, I got Sean Ray's posing routine in my head from that.
He
Olympia
was,
too.
you know, he was trying to get his luggage out, and one of the straps just snapped and hit him in the eye. You know, we wanted some water, and the guy brought out a bucket with a ladle.
No.
Yeah. Henderson told me this the other day. I was like, "What? Like a trunk? Like
Did you drink it? I
With a
wouldn't drink
ladle.
that. I would never drank that.
It was, but you know, it was a lot of fun because again, we would tour together after the Olympia, hung out with Porter a lot, Milos. It was fun, you know. And I think once we got to England, was it England? I know Kevin LeBron, he ran some track, and him and
racing everybody."
he wanted to race. So I kept quiet because I ran track, and I remember what happened when I tried to go back to track at the age of 40. I decided I'm going to run track in the Masters.
Bye, hammies.
Exactly. Yeah. So I went back to the track, and it was a disaster. But at the end of the 50-meter stretch, there was a weight room. So I just hung out in there for the rest. My return to track lasted one night.
Hey, Chris, you know, I think now would be a really good time, you know, because a lot of the people don't know who Henderson is, don't know what his physique looked like. I know you had some video, you know, to kind of show everybody what this man, what he's accomplished and what his physique looked like.
Let me see if I can pull up the prejudging of the Mr. O. Yeah, this is it right here. So you can see, I mean, when I tell you about statuesque and perfection, those of you who are watching this will really understand. So this is prejudging coverage of the Mr. Olympia. Now I'll enlarge the screen. 1992 Helsinki, Dorian Yates's first win, and
there's Steve Brisbois.
Steve Brisbois.
Yeah.
Milos.
Yeah, this is just a quick commercial, unfortunately, that we have to endure. You're welcome for the free exposure, whoever you are.
.com/McValue to claim your free 3 months of access to Pandora Premium. And after, treat yourself to a buy-one, add-one for $1 deal with McValue. Or
it'll come up in a moment.
The $5 meal deal. Because with McValue, you always get more than you expect. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, did we finally get a sponsor and we have an ad?
No.
McDonald's?
Another one?
Wow.
I actually had it queued, but unfortunately I still run through the commercials.
Ashley's durable next-gen Novella Performance Fabric is solution dyed.
Make sure you go out and buy good fabrics and eat fast food.
Why is this just
Podcast.
an audio commercial? Why isn't there a video commercial?
And enjoy all life.
And usually, like when it starts, you could skip like after 10 seconds. You
Oh
know?
yeah, you could skip it in 3 seconds. You can see it on the bottom.
There we go.
There you go. All right.
There's
I'm gonna
Jose
say-
Guzman. There's Jose Guzman in the middle next to
Yes.
Samir
Yes,
Banu.
Samir
Samir.
Banu.
Wow, that was a hell of a lineup. Jimmy,
Yes.
is that Jimmy Mendes? Looks like him. So this is just my opinion, and I know a lot of people do not share.
Ron
it,
Love.
but I thought
Ronnie Love.
I thought Sean Ray should have won this Olympia. I thought he would look better than Dorian. That was my personal opinion.
Mine was Kevin.
Yeah, I could have seen Kevin win that too.
That was Kevin from when he had just won the Night of Champions months before that, and I think looked unbelievable.
There's Benaziza.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't.
Sorry about the choppiness. Yeah, here's Henderson right here, everyone. I mean,
Oh, right next
nuts.
to Dorian. Look at that, man. And Al Q Gurley next to him.
Yes.
Who's down in Florida? He's close
Oh,
to
really?
where I live.
Okay. And there's and Lou for wow, Lou is a big dude, man. Unless you're thinking Dorian looks small. Jesus. Henderson, you're right there next to Mr. Olympia. Man.
Look at Lou's calves.
Olympia.
Jesus Christ.
Look at that.
Look at Lou's calves. It's
standing
crazy.
back. I mean, look at the side dog.
Yeah, he looks monstrous here.
If he was leaner, if Lou was leaner, he probably could have taken it, right?
Sorry about that. He was pissed. There's the famous stairs. And yeah, it's
Wow.
that show was
What a lineup.
Lee
Man.
Labrada.
Yeah, what a lineup. And that was wide open because Haney had just retired, so it was wide open, you know. New era.
People don't know what they missed, you know?
That was a magic time. Magic time.
Haney was just on recently saying how he thought he would probably have beaten Dorian in 92 as well. And I don't necessarily disagree with that.
I'm biased because Haney's my favorite physique of all time, but I think he had a way better physique than Dorian. Dorian got bigger, but his waist also got bigger. His shape was never as good.
I mean, look at that shot.
It was just, I think it was, the first time you'd seen a guy that hard and that big.
Yeah.
So it was, till Ronnie.
I think it was the end of one era and starting of another.
That's it.
Henderson, you know?
That's it.
Yeah.
Of what they were looking for, I guess at that point, you know?
That's a great shot.
Yeah.
And the fullness in the chest, everything.
That shoot with Porter. Remember Chris Lund?
Yeah, sure.
Remember Chris Lund? So we were in Orange County to shoot that, and we had I don't know, somebody had posted it a while ago. So we had Weeder's credit card. Porter.
Nice.
So we went shopping and we had like just a shopping cart full of groceries. But Porter loved Rice Krispie Squares. So every night we would eat a tray of Rice Krispie Squares.
Oh, wow.
But it was like, don't we have to do a shoot soon?
He's ahead of his time because now that's like all the kids do that now.
Yeah, and we had such a ball there shooting that, and I don't know if any of you guys shot with Chris Lund. He's using real weight all the time. He's sweating. His hat is backwards. We worked out for like 8 hours to just get that cover.
Well, you had to work off those Rice Krispie treats. Come on, you know.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I love the 90s, the sunglasses inside
Sunglasses,
the gym.
yes. I was thinking the same thing, Eric.
They used to have the jean shorts they would wear.
Yes, it ripped up,
Yeah.
you know.
That's so 90s flex, man.
Yeah, it's the 90s stuff.
Yeah. It's a great time, man.
Yeah,
I remember that. And I still own that mag. I think that's Flex at its best, actually, which always had like 3 or 4 collaged pictures, right, of just like what was going on, with this bodybuilder, what was going on, maybe with this supplement, this contest, and it was probably 92 to like 94. Flex was doing that kind of coverage, or those kind of cover Flex magazine covers, if you will.
And back then, you know, that's where you got all your info, is you waited for the magazines to come out. You know, whether it was Muscular Development or Muscle Mag, it was Flex, Iron Man. You know, you just waited to see what the guys were doing. And, you know, if it was Iron Man or Flex, most of the time it was the West Coast bodybuilders. And then with Muscle Mag and to some extent Muscular Development, you would see the guys that were training at Diamond Gym or Bev Francis's gym, that kind of stuff.
Here we go.
And I will tell you, the photography back then was better than it is now, because
it was great. It was great.
And you had to be a really skilled photographer, you know?
Yeah. And they, you know, connected some of the guys up in Canada, some of the photographers that were up here were really good. But down there, I shot with Jim Mentler and
Mark Choppy.
Killer physique.
A lot of people jammed from Michael Jackson, right? That was big. KLF was big. From those are big songs for this period of time.
Well, that's what Vince Taylor posted. Remember?
Yes.
I mean, look at this.
No, Henderson. The way your lats,
dude, you'd be winning shows. You'd be winning shows today.
Yeah, just a great physique, man. Very balanced too, man.
Yeah.
Henderson, you'd seriously be winning shows today like that. I mean, look at that side chest.
Full round muscle bellies, good separation.
And he controls his abdominals like a lot of guys don't do today.
I think like today, a lot of I think we spoke about this the other night. You know, you know, a lot of guys just train. It's the off-season thing. They're training really heavy at 300 pounds, whatever, and they're not getting deep into the muscle tissue.
Yeah. Great back lat spread, Henderson, really. Nice, and your sweep on your legs and your quads look great.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and again, I'm probably watching this for the gazillionth time. And you know, I bought that VCR tape as soon as I could.
And here's the other thing:
it was all about for.
You don't realize how lean he is because this is video that's, you know, not up to date. So
right.
I mean,
probably
it's not high quality.
Right? Probably looking at 420p or
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that was, you know, that was like just getting to the Olympia was just amazing. But you know, that was great. But the battle that I had with Porter Cottrell at that show, you know, we were back and forth, and we just became really great friends from that battle.
That's cool.
You know, and it was, you know, it carried on, and I remember being at the was it the Chicago show, because I think after that Kevin Levrone had won, or was it 94? When did Kevin win the Nationals? 94, 93?
Would have won it in 91, I think.
Was it 91?
Yeah, because
it was 91.
Yeah, 91 because he was
Porter and I went to the Night of Champions, and you know, that was a huge Night of Champions. They had like 47 guys.
I was there.
Remember that Night of Champions?
I used to go every year. Yeah, I was there.
And I remember Wayne D'Amelia calling me. And Wayne, you know, Wayne never really spoke to a lot of people, but Greg Koufax, remember Greg Koufax?
Sure.
Yeah.
So he calls me and he says, "Hey, what's with this guy, Greg? Do you think I should put him on the cover of Flex?" And that's when he got on the cover of Flex, because, you know, we're talking about it, and and he was competing. That time he was with Muscle Tech, and we were with Muscle Tech together. And Greg, when he won the Canadas, had an amazing physique. But then he became the biggest, strongest bodybuilder, blah, blah, blah. But the Night of Champions had like 47 guys in. And
it was tremendous shows.
Oh, it was crazy. I think I was 5th or 6th. Milos and I flipped back and forth places. Porter was there, and I think Kevin won it that year, didn't he?
Kevin won it that year.
Yeah.
It was him and Porter at the end, if I'm not mistaken. And Kevin posed to crisscross. I'm gonna make you. Yeah, I'll never forget it. And it was just like,
remember that.
yeah, just the way he was hitting shots. It was like perfect song for him. And then probably where it really took off is the photo shoot after that with all the city skyscape,
Yeah.
shots that he did there. And it was just like, damn, who's got that Serratus? Who's got that side? He was just so sliced and diced.
Yeah, he was, man, it was unbelievable to see his physique. And I loved his physique, but man, the muscle bellies, it was crazy.
Very round, very round.
Yeah.
Henderson, it's you look back at a show like that, and you'd sit there, you'd pay double, to watch a show like that with 47 top-ranked bodybuilders and seeing the call-outs and the comparisons. And unfortunately, today it's really not like that because there's so many divisions and they're all packing everything together.
After that show, I was sore because I remember being on stage for about at least 5 or 6 call-outs in a row. Because back in the day, you bodybuilders were compared.
Yes.
So now you need to see a guy that you think is in 10th. You got to show him against a guy that you think is going to be in 2nd, and you don't see that much anymore. Guys used to be compared a lot. You need that.
I've had shows like that, and it's the most fun. That's what it's all about, and if you have a good MC, like I remember when I was competing in 2018, for an overall, and they pulled me in the heavyweight and pulled everybody else aside, and they said, ladies and gentlemen, this is gonna be tight. We're gonna run these guys, and I'm like, this is what I want. This is exactly what I want.
It was the same thing with the Night of Champions. We were like 47 guys. Like the top 10 guys, we were worked. It was crazy. My calves were sore, but it was fun. Because you wanted to be on stage.
And the key for me was like, because you're getting excited now, because and you say, don't let the adrenaline go too high because it'll dump and you'll flatten out.
Oh yeah.
So you got to control that.
It's a lot. Bodybuilding now. It's so mainstream. There are more people. There's so many divisions, and I still love bodybuilding, me personally, but I just think there has to be a cap to it, to how many divisions you have, how much, because it becomes so much. I don't know. I want to say it's like almost watered down.
Sure. That's a phrase that I was in my head. Yeah,
sure.
But I still love it personally, for me. But when I look at it, to me, it's just too much right now. So it's a lot of bodybuilding.
Well, the shows are so long because of all these divisions.
Oh,
painfully long.
Well, I could compete in a show that there's 25 guys in my class, and you're praying that you get the first call out. Now, if there's 5 to 7 people in a class, it's shocking.
Yeah, it's just way too much, and it's a business. So at the end of the day, us old guys have to go. It's a business.
Yeah, I know.
Bodybuilding, it's a business now, and I'm probably going to get shot for this, but I just look at bodybuilding now and I say, you know what? It's just a lot of really in shape salespeople.
Wow.
And that's just just me on the side. I still love bodybuilding. I want to compete again, but I think that 90s. I don't like to compare eras because everything is different. The science, this and that is different. But for me, I just love that I was able to compete in the 90s when I did.
Well, I guess the word comes to mind, Anderson, I'm sure you agree, is the purity is kind of gone.
Yeah.
We had Jimmy Mentis on our podcast quite a few episodes ago, and we stay in touch. And Henderson, you and I were talking about this previously. You know, Jimmy pointed out, and he's pointed out many times on his post, it's you're not depending on your contest winnings for that potential photo shoot or to make a living or to get that contract. And you could depend a lot more on your social media following and your app and training people and other good things. But the contest incentive to be that dry, that conditioned, that crazy, to train that insane for it, the reward isn't as much there as it is in everything else that people have available to them, such as, like I said, social media marketing and branding and a photo shoot and a product launch. So I just think because of that, because that incentive, as Scott said before, is watered down, diluted a little bit. I think that plays a role into how people show up at shows and what they're willing to go for and what they're willing to do. I mean, again, I don't hold a candle to these guys and gals on stage. They're absolutely incredible in their own right. But it's like, man, you had to do well to make a living at bodybuilding. You had to be, try to be in that top 10, top 5, and hope that would get you the magazine cover and yield other things. It's not like that.
Yeah,
Well,
the dedication. It's yeah, people are still dedicated to what
Yes.
they're doing. They get up every morning. They'll eat their meals. They'll do that. But for me, it was bodybuilding, right? And you get up in the morning. I couldn't wait to get to the gym. But now you get up in the morning now, the first thing is your social media. You know, but to me, I would get up in the morning, the first thing I'm thinking about, okay, got to get my food and this and that. It was bodybuilding, especially when you're getting ready for a contest. My whole thing was I got to get my training in, and that was your craft, right? But now it's like it's almost like work. It's part of your work day because now you got to check your social media, you got to check your emails, you got to do this, you got to do that. Yeah, back in my day, we didn't have no email, I don't think.
That's why the Battle for Olympia videos were so, valuable to all of us, right? That was our first time we got to see somebody train and be videoed, or pumping for gold or battle for gold, whatever they call it these days. I know YouTube's got different names for it all the time. Like all those documentaries of watching people train. And I mean, we were starving for that back in the day. Now it's just
yeah.
there all the time.
But now you see it every day, and everybody's putting up their workouts and stuff like that, and which is good because everything is about social media now. But for me, I try not to really, I know it's there, but it doesn't change the way I train and the way I go about loving bodybuilding and stuff like that. Because I'll post some stuff, but sometimes, and I'll go missing off of social media for a couple of days because I go, okay, I've had enough of it, right? And I'll get away from it and get back connected with my workouts and stuff like that. And then when I come back to it, I'll see what people are saying. And for me, for the most part, I think it's just the same stuff over and over and over, just being, rehashed in different ways.
Well, Henderson, what I'll kind of put a period at the end of this is for us it's personal because it's always been personal, and
Yes.
we were when we got involved in this, there wasn't anything like this, so we got in it for the pure love of bodybuilding, and it was very personal for us. And getting yourself in a condition was personal to you. It wasn't for people to actually see because there was no way to show them anyway.
So you just answered my why I want to compete again, because it is personal. I want to see, where I can take my body, because I don't really care about my age. It's like I love training. I love challenging my body and seeing where I can go right now, where I am, and without, using anything. And that's just me personally. I don't push that on anybody. You're going to do what you want to do, whether I give you advice or not. And I give people the same advice you do. Build a base. If you can wait long enough to build a base, because you'll never lose that. You'll never lose that base.
I agree.
You know, so my thing is I have a really good foundation because I trained a lot of years without it. Even when I was on it, you know, I was training without it, you know, before I get ready for a show. So right now, my thing is I have no injuries, and I still love working out. That's the thing. I still love it. And you know, the eating, you know, I eat the same stuff over and over. That doesn't bother me. But my thing is I want to get back on stage because I really believe that I can get my body looking as close to it did at that 92 Olympia right now. And that's my mindset. And that's my mindset.
We can't wait to see it.
I'm working on it, my friend.
Okay.
Be absolutely unbelievable and great opportunity. I know a couple of our friends are doing it, right? Is Vinny Galante going in the Masters?
Yes, he is. Yeah. Yes, he is. Yeah.
Yeah. We talk back and forth sometimes, and you know, like I've watched him. You know, I've seen him over the years and stuff, and I love the fact that he's still doing it.
Yeah, he's been consistent, man. Vinny's a good friend. Yeah, he's been very consistent.
Look, I know Vinny very, very well. He loves bodybuilding. I mean, it is literally inside every fiber of his body.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's good to see, you know, and you have to love it, especially if you're going to compete. You have to love what you're doing, because if you're just doing it, you're not going to reach where you want to be. You have to be in love with bodybuilding.
I agree totally.
You know, and I just love it. Like I tell people, I never have a bad workout. I go, no, the only bad workout is the one that you didn't do.
Agreed. That's what I tell everybody.
You know, and I know, you know, people, there's all these different, you know, you need rest days, this and that. I think I've been training right now for like 2 weeks straight.
Wow.
You know, I'm telling you, he sends me DMs all the time. He's like, "What'd you train today?" I just killed legs. I just killed back. I'm like, holy shit! I go, I got to meet this guy at the Arnold and train with him. I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
You know, like I'm, you know, honestly, like, you know, but you know, like legs. Like Sunday, I did legs, and you know, I did shoulders today, and I did back on Monday. And today I'm going, okay, I can walk up the stairs. Okay, maybe I'll do, you know, I'm thinking about doing legs tomorrow, right? Even though I just did them on Sunday, I'm looking at it as, okay, I did back on Monday. I did shoulders today. Yeah, my legs are rested. But, you know, you know, I'm out, I don't go out and party. I go from home to the gym, walk my dog, I'm home. And I'll tell people when I have nothing to do, I don't look for stuff to do. I just want to rest and relax. For me, my thought process is I'm always getting ready for my next workout. And I do everything to get ready for my next workout. As soon as this one is finished, I'm thinking about, okay, I got to get ready for the next workout.
I second that emotion, you know, I know I do. You know, because what I'll do during the day, this is just me. What motivates me is like after I'll train and I'm really push myself. I always push myself every day because I want to be able to reflect back and feel good about what I did. Exactly. And I'm thinking, okay, what am I doing tomorrow?
Yeah, I tell people as soon as I finish my last rep and my workout is done, you know, I start drinking water, you know, whatever pre-workout or whatever stuff I'm sipping on, that gets put away. And I'll start drinking water to just get ready for my next workout. And my next workout starts as soon as I finish this one. I start thinking, okay, is it going to be, it's always, legs are always in my thought process.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm doing those tomorrow. As a matter of fact.
Well, maybe I'll do those tomorrow too.
Yeah. And you know what's funny, Henderson? Maybe and this is to get a little bit of personal, is that I'll get home from the gym in the morning, and the first thing I do is get my gym stuff ready for the next day.
Yeah. Well,
That's what I do every day.
And gym stuff to me, I laugh because I go, I've been training in the same gym stuff for like 5-6 years. I have about 3 or 4 pairs of pants, same sweatshirts and one tank top. So I look like a hobo.
I'm trying to send him an animal
videos,
hoodie.
it's the same clothes. It's the
That's
same
funny.
clothes.
Yeah, of course.
When you cut,
and I have Henderson, and to get even more personal, like I have certain training clothes that I wear for legs, and
Exactly.
I'm like, I'm like, this is
We're
what I
just
do,
And I had to give up one of my favorite shirts because I just couldn't get the smell out of it anymore. Like I go, okay, I gotta put down a wig. Because as soon as I put it on, I go, oh man, it stinks. But it's my favorite.
Yeah, we'll have to get you some animal shirts at the
it's like losing a loved one. It's like losing a loved one, right, Henderson? It's like losing something that's part of you,
It is. Like remember when Arnold was with the Muscle Farm?
Sure.
And they had a little like his body on a shirt.
Yep.
I had one of those and I wore it so much. It was my leg shirt. I would put it under my sweatshirt to the point where the neck was ripped and I had to be so gentle to take it off. I still have the shirt, but I can't wear it anymore. I can't wear it anymore.
You got to take it off gently, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I wore it every time I did legs. They had this picture of Arnold, his body silhouette on the front, and I would just wear it. I go, this is my leg shirt, and I would wear it underneath a sweatshirt to the point where I had to be so gentle to take it off. So I had to stop wearing it, but I still have it.
And it's so funny because I've been training the same gym. People know, they'll see what I'm wearing. They go, oh, Scott, it's leg day for you. They can tell by what I'm wearing,
Yeah. Yeah, I have the same thing, but I need new clothes now because most of the pants now have like holes.
Yeah.
So send me some new stuff.
I'm trying to get it over the border for you. You know that.
At the Arnold, we'll get you some animal shirts at the Arnold.
That's okay. When your little boy Trump buys Canada, we'll get all the
stuff. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. That's funny. Hey, it's guys, we're over an hour, so I should probably wrap up.
I want to be respectful to everyone's time.
Yeah.
No, this is fantastic. This is like, wow. This is gold.
I told you it would be. Just such a great journey that continues. And again, Henderson, on behalf of Scott and Eric and myself, just like I said, this has also been a journey to get to this point, and this is just the beginning. It continues on your road to the Masters O in Tokyo, which is like what, 36 weeks?
36 weeks. It's time to bulk up.
Just forget about everything we said. He's going to bulk up now.
Exactly. Next time you see me, I'll be 250 with a big face.
We learned at 185 you could squat 800 pounds. We know we got to get you some great apparel. Certainly when we get to the Arnold together, we will we'll talk to the powers that be at the animal booth, and we'll also go visit our friend Mike Johansson over at Better Bodies Gasp.
Awesome.
And we'll find a way. But this has just been spectacular. We knew it would be. And again, more than anything, just thank you so much for just carrying the torch and just being so genuine for your love of training. And sharing the realness, and still looking and living the part. I just think is amazing. We're going to make sure we do you justice with the right thumbnail picture when we post this, hopefully in 24 hours or so, and hopefully we get to do a part 2 as you get closer to Masters O. But we're really excited to see what you're capable of, and like I said, just thank you for sharing your time with us. It was incredible, and thank you everyone out there who follows Gym Guys Podcast. If you don't follow Henderson Thorne, you need to. His handle on Instagram, I believe, is IFBB_Henderson Thorne.
Yes.
Also, obviously, you can Google him, find him that way. Check out the 92 Olympia. Check out YouTube footage of, again, his win at the 94 Niagara Pro.
And if I could just add, if you pull up Muscle Memory, you'll see every single contest he's ever competed in.
Yes.
And there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Over 40 shows. So thank you, Henderson Thorne. Thank you, people out watching.
Henderson, it was a pleasure speaking with you tonight.
All right. Hopefully I'll run into you guys at the Arnold.
Yes. Look forward to meeting you.
So make sure we get a workout in.
That would be great. We look forward to it, man. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Train hard.
Chris, have a good night. Eric,
Thank you.
I hope you're feeling better.
Yep, I'm all right.
All right.
Hobbling around, but I'm all right.
Take it easy, guys. Have a good
Thank you,
night.
Henderson.
Thank you.
Thank you.